The night hums with quiet energy. Stars drift above a sea of silver clouds. The world below sleeps. Yet somewhere, between dream and dawn, another realm awakens. Its name is Somnia, a place woven from thoughts, memories, and the whispers of the sleeping. Here, every idea becomes light. Every fear turns into shadow. And at the heart of it all stands Morpheus, the keeper of dreams. For centuries he has guarded this fragile world of imagination. But now, something has changed. The dreamlight grows dim. The rivers of inspiration run thin. Across the earth, people wake in silence. They no longer see color when they close their eyes. They no longer believe in wonder. Morpheus feels their absence like a fading song. Without dreams, humanity forgets its soul. So, beneath a sky that never ends, he begins to search. Somewhere, 5 dreamers still remember. 5 souls who can chase the fading light. Their journey will decide whether Somnia survives or vanishes into endless sleep. It began quietly. No storms, no disasters. Just silence. The kind that stretches too long. People still slept, but their nights felt empty. No colors, no stories, no dreams. They woke with heavy eyes, hearts unlit. Across cities and small towns, artists stopped painting. Writers stared at blank pages. Musicians forgot melodies that once flowed like rivers. Even children, whose minds once danced in wonder, now slept in gray stillness. Something had vanished. Something unseen, yet vital. Insomnia, the realm of dreams, Morpheus felt it first. The dream river slowed to a crawl. Its waters, once alive with shimmering visions, turned dull and thin. The sky of Somnia dimmed, stars fading like dying embers. He stood at the edge of the river, watching reflections tremble and fade. Each lost dream echoed faintly, a whisper dissolving into silence. For the first time in eternity, Morpheus felt uncertainty. His duty was to guard the balance between the waking and the dreaming. But now, the balance faltered. He looked to the horizon, where imagination once rose like dawn. It was pale now, cold and still. The halls of creation stood quiet. Paintings peeled from walls of light. Songs drifted without sound. Morpheus closed his eyes. He could hear them, the dreamers, sleeping but not dreaming. It was like listening to a world that had forgotten how to breathe. The loss was not only his. It belonged to every heart that once dared to wonder. He descended into the dream archives, vast chambers carved from memory itself. Scrolls of forgotten stories floated weightlessly. Their words flickered and went out. A map unfolded before him, glowing faintly. A map of human imagination. Whole regions dimmed, disappearing one by one. The pulse of creativity weakened. Without dreams, humanity's spirit would fade into mechanical stillness. Morpheus knew he could not face this silence alone. He reached into the river, drawing a thread of silver light. From it, he began to weave. The pattern shimmered with human essence, curiosity, hope, and longing. He shaped 5 threads, each bound to a mortal soul. Across the world, those souls stirred. Painters dreaming in monochrome, musicians trapped in silence, poets unable to find words, dancers who'd forgotten movement, scientists who'd lost the spark of discovery. Each would soon hear a call, soft as the breath of night, urgent as the beat of a heart. Above Somnia, clouds of imagination shifted faintly. A single star rekindled its glow. Morpheus whispered to it, his voice like wind across forgotten pages. "They must remember," he said, "before the silence becomes eternal." Then, with a sweep of his hand, he sent the call across the boundary between dream and waking. It rippled through the void, searching, reaching, finding, and far below, in the quiet hearts of the sleepers, the first echoes began to stir. The night after the silence deepened, 5 dreamers stirred. Each lived a different life, yet each felt the same ache, the loss of wonder. The first was Elara, a painter in a city of endless gray. Her colors had dried, her brushes silent. Every morning she stared at a blank canvas, waiting for something that never came. The second was Jonas, a musician who once heard symphonies in the hum of life. Now, his guitar produced only hollow notes. He played to remember what inspiration felt. The third was Mira, a scientist who had spent her life decoding the mysteries of the universe. Lately, the stars above her telescope seemed distant, lifeless, as if the cosmos itself had lost its pulse. The fourth was Soren, a dancer whose body once flowed like wind. Now each movement felt mechanical, rehearsed but empty. The fifth was Leo, a poet who wrote by moonlight. His words, once alive, now fell flat, like echoes in a void. All five, strangers to one another, shared a single absence: the dream. That night the air around them shimmered faintly. Time slowed, breath deepened, and then came the voice. It was soft, like rain falling on memory. "Do you remember where the stars fall into sleep?" the voice asked. Each of them paused. The world seemed to hold its breath. The voice continued, warm and distant. "I am Morpheus, keeper of dreams. The dream river fades. The light of imagination wanes. You are chosen to restore it." Elara felt her heart tremble. Jonas dropped his guitar, the strings humming a single pure tone. Mira lifted her eyes to the sky, and for the first time in months, saw a star flicker back to life. Soren closed his eyes, sensing rhythm return to the silence. Leo's pen moved, unbidden, writing a single phrase across the page. "Where the stars fall into sleep." None of them knew what it meant, but they all felt it. A pull, gentle yet undeniable. A call that came not from the world of waking but from the H. As dawn approached, each woke with fragments of a dream still clinging to their minds. A silver river, a figure of light, a whisper that lingered like perfume. They tried to shake it off, to return to normal life, but normal felt wrong now. The world looked thinner, quieter, as if reality had forgotten its own depth. And within them, something stirred. A longing they could not name. They knew they must follow the call. That night, when they closed their eyes again, the stars above seemed to tremble. Threads of silver light descended from the sky, weaving through their dreams. One by one, they were lifted from their sleeping bodies. The world of reality faded away, and before them opened the luminous gates of Somnia, vast, radiant, alive. They stepped through together, though they had never met, guided by a single voice. Morpheus whispered once more, "Welcome, dream chasers. Your journey begins." The dreamers awoke to light, not the light of dawn, but something deeper, softer, alive. Somnia unfolded before them like a living painting. Skies rippled in shades of violet and gold. Rivers of thought flowed through floating valleys. The air shimmered with songs that had no words. Each step they took left trails of color that faded slowly behind them. They had crossed into the realm between sleep and creation. Elara turned in awe, her eyes wide. "It's real," she whispered. Jonas knelt beside a pool of glowing water, plucking a ripple like a string. It sang back to him. Mira stared at the horizon where cities drifted like islands in the clouds. "This place follows no rule of physics," she murmured. "It's built from imagination." Soren twirled once, and light followed his movement like silk. Leo smiled faintly. "Then imagination must be alive again," he said softly. A soft breeze passed, carrying whispers through the air. The light gathered, folding into a tall, serene figure. His eyes glowed with the calm of infinity. His voice, when it came, was both thunder and lullaby. "Welcome, dreamers," Morpheus said. "You have entered Somnia, the heart of all dreams." The dreamers stood silent, unsure whether to bow or speak, but Morpheus only smiled gently. "No need for reverence," he continued. "Only purpose." He gestured to the vast horizon. The sky shimmered, revealing a network of glowing rivers stretching across the land. "These are the streams of imagination," he said. "They connect every human mind, carrying visions, hopes, and wonder. But they are fading. Something is draining their light." He paused, and the dreamers felt the air grow heavier. If the streams die, both your world and mine will fall into silence. Mira stepped forward. How can we stop it? She asked. Morpheus looked at them, eyes full of knowing. Long ago, I forged the 5 fragments of inspiration, he said. They are the heartstones of this realm. Each embodies a force of creation, color, sound, logic, motion, and word. But they have been scattered, lost in the fading corners of Somnia. His gaze softened. You must find them. Restore them. Only then can the streams flow again. Elara looked at the glowing rivers. Where do we begin? She asked. Morpheus raised his hand, and 5 paths of light appeared, branching outward into the dream horizon. Your journey begins in the realm of echoes, he said, a place where forgotten dreams still whisper. Beware. What you hear may not always be truth. The dreamers exchanged glances. Fear flickered behind their wonder, but so did resolve. Morpheus bowed his head slightly. Trust in what you create, he said, for what is made from belief cannot die. The air trembled, the paths shimmered brighter. And as the dreamers took their first steps forward, the world of Somnia began to hum, alive once more, waiting to be reborn through their courage and imagination. The path to the realm of echoes shimmered like a ribbon of light. It wound through clouds that whispered old songs. The 5 dreamers walked in silence, each feeling the hum of forgotten voices. Somnia seemed to shift with every heartbeat. Mountains rose and melted into rivers. Colors changed with emotion. The land was alive, sensing their purpose. Elara touched a nearby tree. Its trunk rippled like liquid glass, showing fragments of past dreams, laughter, tears, and music. Their memories, she said softly. Dreams that once belonged to someone. Jonas listened to the wind and heard faint melodies. Some sounded joyful, others full of sorrow. Mira took notes in her mind, studying how the world bent under thought. Soren spun once and shadows followed his steps. Leo recited half-remembered verses, and the air seemed to respond. At last, they reached a vast valley where sound and silence intertwined. It was the realm of echoes. The ground glowed faintly with the reflections of countless forgotten dreams. Murmurs drifted in the air, gentle as the sea. This place remembers everything, Mira whispered. Jonas nodded. Even what we've chosen to forget. The valley stretched endlessly, a mirror of human longing. In the center stood a great stone arch, carved with symbols that pulsed like a heartbeat. Morpheus's voice came through the wind, calm and distant. Here lies the first fragment, the dream of memory. To find it, you must awaken what has been lost. His words faded, leaving only the echo of their own breathing. Elara stepped forward. Her hands trembled as she lifted her brush, conjured from light. I must paint what cannot be seen, she murmured. The memory of a dream. She closed her eyes. The world around her hushed. Slowly, color began to flow from her fingertips. Not paint, but emotion. She painted not with strokes, but with feelings. Joy, grief, wonder, and fear. The others watched as the air rippled. Images formed and dissolved. A child laughing, a bird in flight, a star being born. Each was a memory not her own, yet somehow familiar. Somnia itself seemed to breathe again. The valley began to glow. The echoes grew louder, merging into a single resonant hum. From the heart of the arch, a crystal of pure light emerged. It floated gently before Elara, pulsing like a living heart. The first fragment, the dream of memory. She reached out and touched it. Warmth flooded through her, 1,000 dreams rushing into one. The fragment sank into her chest, leaving behind a mark of silver light. Morpheus's voice returned proud and serene. You have restored the first fragment. The stream of memory flows once more. The valley brightened, filled with music that seemed to come from the stars. Jonas smiled. One down, he said softly. Leo replied, 4 to go. The dreamers turned toward the horizon, where new paths of light unfurled. And as they walked on, the realm of echoes faded behind them. silent, but no longer empty. The dream chasers followed the second path, a trail of light winding through silver mist. The air felt heavier here, thick with ticking sounds that echoed like distant clocks. Above them, time itself shimmered, flowing backward and forward in waves. "This must be the clockwork garden," Mira whispered. The others looked around in awe. Flowers of crystal grew and bloomed in reverse. Dewdrops fell upward into the sky. Every movement seemed caught between moments. At the garden's center stood a massive clock tower made of glass. Its gears turned slowly, each rotation echoing through the ground. The dreamers stepped carefully, feeling time shift under their feet. "Everything here moves by rhythm," Jonas said quietly. "But it's broken." Morpheus's voice drifted through the air, soft and distant. "Here lies the second fragment, the dream of time. Restore its harmony, and the stream of thought will flow again." Mira approached the clock tower. Her mind raced. The scientist in her wanted to understand, but the dreamer within her felt the rhythm instead. "Time isn't wrong," she murmured. "It's waiting to be remembered." She touched one of the crystal gears, and visions flooded her mind, memories of every second ever lived. Births, discoveries, quiet moments of wonder, all frozen, all yearning to move again. Elara painted streaks of light to guide her. Jonas began to hum, letting sound shape the air. Soren moved in slow circles, matching the ticking rhythm. The garden began to respond. Flowers turned toward them. Petals unfolded in slow motion. But still the clock remained stuck. Mira listened deeper. Beneath the ticking, she heard something faint. A missing beat, like a heart skipping time. "That's it," she whispered. "The rhythm is incomplete." She closed her eyes and placed her hand over the heart of the clock. The others gathered around, lending their presence. Jonas strummed a single chord that echoed through the air like ripples on water. Soren's movements became fluid, each step syncing with Mira's heartbeat. Leo began to speak softly. Words of renewal, of beginnings and endings intertwined. Together, they created harmony. Time began to breathe again. The gears turned faster. The flowers bloomed in perfect rhythm. The ticking sound became music. The sky above shimmered as if dawn were rising within the dream. From the center of the clock tower, a sphere of golden light emerged. The second fragment, the dream of time, floated toward Mira. She reached out. It melted into her hand, leaving a faint golden mark that glowed beneath her skin. Morpheus's voice echoed warmly. "You have restored the second fragment. The stream of thought flows freely once more." Around them, the garden pulsed with renewed life. The sound of time became a gentle melody. Jonas smiled, strumming a few playful notes. "Guess time really is on our side," he said. The others laughed softly. Ahead, a new path opened, shimmering like sunlight through crystal. Their next journey awaited. The dream chasers stepped onto the third path. It shimmered like liquid glass beneath their feet. Ahead stretched a vast horizon of blue, the sea of whispers. The waves moved without wind, glowing softly with hues of silver and green. Each ripple carried faint voices, fragments of dreams half remembered. The sea was alive, murmuring secrets of sleeping minds. Jonas closed his eyes. "It's singing," he said. The others listened. Beneath the waves, melodies intertwined, some tender, some sorrowful. It was beautiful but dissonant, like an orchestra out of tune. "The sound is broken," Mira said. "Too many voices speaking at once." Morpheus's voice drifted through the air, calm and distant. "Here lies the third fragment, the dream of sound. To restore it, you must bring harmony to the whispers." Jonas knelt by the shore, letting the water brush his fingertips. The voices grew louder, flooding his mind with echoes, laughter, lullabies, cries of fear, forgotten songs. Each fought to be heard. He winced, overwhelmed. "They're all trying to speak," he whispered, "but none are listening." Elara painted lines of calm across the air, soothing the chaos into shapes of light. Leo whispered verses to guide the melody. Soren began to sway, his movements creating rhythm in the silence. Jonas took a deep breath and began to hum. A single tone, soft and steady. The sea rippled in response. He added another note, then another, weaving a melody around the voices. Slowly, the whispers began to align, forming chords instead of chaos. The others joined him. Mira tapped her fingers against the ground in a gentle pattern, echoing the rhythm of waves. Elara's brush painted trails of light that pulsed with each beat. The sea brightened. The harmony grew. The waves rose higher, glowing brighter with every note. Whispers became singing, voices uniting in a great chorus. Jonas felt tears on his cheeks. Not sorrow, but relief. He was no longer alone in the sound. The sea of whispers responded fully now, lifting them all, on a tide of luminous music. Above them, the sky rippled like a drumhead, resonating with their song. At the center of the sea, a spiral of light began to form. It spun faster, gathering the sound into one pure tone. From its heart, a crystal sphere emerged, shimmering with waves of color. The third fragment, the dream of sound. Jonas stepped forward, his voice steady and full. He reached out, and the fragment dissolved into him like a chord resolving at last. The music faded into gentle silence. Morpheus's voice echoed softly, filled with warmth. You have restored the third fragment. The stream of emotion flows again. The sea glowed with serenity, its whispers now peaceful. The dreamers stood in stillness, listening to the quiet harmony around them. Then the sea parted, revealing a bridge of starlight leading onward. Soren smiled and said, "Let's dance to whatever comes next." Together, they crossed, guided by the hum of a dream reborn. The bridge of starlight carried the dream chasers toward their next destination. The glow beneath their feet pulsed like a heartbeat, leading them into the clouds. As the mists cleared, they beheld a city unlike any they had seen, the city of mirrors. Towers of glass rose endlessly, reflecting countless versions of the sky. Every surface shimmered with light, yet none cast a true shadow. Soren stepped forward, his reflection splitting into dozens around him. Each one moved slightly out of sync, mimicking but never matching. "This place feels alive," he murmured. Mira nodded. "It reflects not just form, but thought." Morpheus's voice echoed faintly through the mirrored streets. "Here lies the fourth fragment, the dream of motion. To claim it, you must move without fear, guided only by truth." They entered the city cautiously. Every mirror whispered as they passed, showing flickers of memory and doubt. Elara saw a reflection of herself painting in darkness. Jonas saw his mirrored self breaking his guitar in frustration. Leo watched himself writing words that turned to ash. The city seemed to feed on hesitation. "It's showing what we fear most," Mira said softly. "Our own stillness." Soren closed his eyes. "Then I'll move." He stepped into an open plaza where the mirrors curved like a dome. His reflections surrounded him, hundreds of Soren, all waiting. "If this is about fear, I'll dance until it fades." He began slowly, one step, one breath. The mirrors shimmered. His reflection faltered, then followed. He twirled, letting rhythm guide him instead of thought. The air vibrated with movement. The others watched as light bent around him. Every turn seemed to erase another shadow. His reflection began to sink, mirroring him perfectly now. Not out of fear, but harmony. The city of mirrors responded. Walls rippled, glowing brighter. The plaza filled with motion and music. Jonas strummed a rhythm to match his steps. Elara painted arcs of color in the air, tracing his dance. Leo whispered verses that carried like wind. Mira smiled, whispering, "He's rewriting the pattern." As Soren leapt, the mirrors shattered into streams of light, but no sound of breaking came, only resonance. The fragments floated upward, forming a sphere that pulsed in time with his heartbeat. It drifted gently toward him. The fourth fragment, the dream of motion. He caught it mid-spin, light spiraling into his chest. When his feet touched the ground, the city stilled. Every reflection bowed before him, then dissolved into mist. Morpheus's voice returned, warm and proud. You have restored the fourth fragment. The stream of spirit flows once more. The dream chasers looked around as the city faded into morning light. Soren took a deep breath. For the first time, I feel free, he said. The others smiled. The mirrors melted away, revealing a horizon painted with dawn. Another path of silver opened ahead, leading toward the final dream. Their journey neared its end. The dream chasers followed the final silver path as it curved into twilight. The air grew still, and shadows lengthened around them. Ahead stretched a garden unlike any other, vast, silent, and veiled in soft mist. Flowers of darkness bloomed under a sky without stars. This must be it, Leo whispered. The Garden of Shadows. Morpheus's voice rose from the silence, deep and distant. Here lies the last fragment, the dream of word. To find it, you must give voice to what hides in silence. The dreamers stepped into the garden. The ground shimmered faintly beneath their feet, as if alive with quiet thought. Everywhere they looked, shadows moved, not menacingly, but mournfully, like forgotten fears searching for form. These are echoes of unspoken dreams, Mira said softly. Things people wished for, but never dared to say. Elara reached out to touch a shadow. It recoiled, then melted into mist. Jonas strummed a soft note, but the sound vanished instantly, swallowed by the quiet. Even music can't live here, he murmured. The silence pressed against them, thick as water. Soren tried to move, but his steps slowed, heavy with unseen weight. Leo felt something stir within him, a pulse, faint but insistent. He understood then. The garden didn't need sound. It needed truth. He knelt among the shadows. They gathered around him like a tide. He could feel their longing. Words never spoken, thoughts buried in fear. He whispered, "You're not forgotten." His voice trembled, then grew stronger. Every silence has a story. The shadows stilled, listening. The others gathered near him, lending quiet strength. Leo began to speak, not poetry but honesty. Simple truths wrapped in kindness. We dream because we hope. We fall because we care. We rise because we remember. The air trembled. One by one the shadows began to glow faintly. Their edges softened into light. Leo's voice carried farther, now merging with the heartbeat of Somnia itself. Words are not chains, he said. They are wings. Elara lifted her brush, painting his words into color. Jonas wove melody around them. Mira traced the pattern of their rhythm, and Soren danced, turning silence into motion. Together they transformed the quiet into creation. From the heart of the garden, a single flower bloomed, white, radiant, pure. Its petals unfolded, revealing a crystal core of golden light. The fifth fragment, the dream of word. It rose into the air, drifting toward Leo. He caught it gently, and it dissolved into his hands, leaving a glowing mark across his palms like written fire. Morpheus's voice returned, resonant and filled with peace. You have restored the final fragment. The streams of creation are whole once more. The garden brightened, shadows fading into dawn. The dream chasers stood together as the sky of Somnia blossomed above them, alive, radiant, infinite. We did it, Elara whispered. Leo smiled softly. No, he said. We remembered. The sky of Somnia blazed with color as the 5 fragments pulsed in unison. Rivers of light flowed across the horizon, carrying dreams back into motion. The dream chasers stood at the center of it all, surrounded by shimmering air and sound that felt like music made of stars. Morpheus appeared before them, cloaked in gold and shadow. His eyes gleamed with gratitude and sorrow intertwined. You have restored what was broken, he said, but one task remains. The dreamers exchanged glances. What more must we do? Mira asked. Morpheus lifted his hand, and the sky rippled. revealing a vast storm of darkness swirling far beyond the horizon. "The fragments are whole," he said, "but the balance between dream and waking must be sealed. The Garden of Shadows birthed more than light. From the silence you conquered, a new fear has been born. The fear of forgetting." They turned to see the storm growing larger, devouring stars as it spun. Jonas frowned. "What happens if it reaches Somnia?" "Then dreams will fade once more," Morpheus said softly. "And humanity will forget what it means to imagine." His gaze turned to them, full of quiet resolve. "You must enter the storm and anchor the streams with your light. Only through union, your hearts, your dreams, your voices, can the balance hold." The dream chasers nodded. There was no hesitation. They had come too far to turn back. The five joined hands. Light flared between them, weaving a bridge toward the storm. Wind and shadow roared, yet they stepped forward without fear. "Hold on to each other," Soren said. "No dream stands alone." The storm swallowed them whole. Inside, there was no up or down, no sound or shape. Only chaos, the raw essence of forgotten thought. Fragments of abandoned dreams spun around them. Toys never built, songs never sung, love never confessed. Leo's voice cut through the darkness. "We remember you," he said. Elara painted light into the void. Jonas sang, his music binding the echoes. Mira wove patterns of reason through the storm, giving it form. Soren danced, turning motion into hope. The storm began to yield. Its roar softened into a heartbeat, then into stillness. From its core, a radiant sphere emerged. The heart of Somnia, glowing brighter than the dawn. The dreamers stood together, their light merging with it. "Now," Morpheus whispered from afar. "Breathe life back into the dream." They closed their eyes and exhaled as one. The sphere expanded, flooding Somnia with light so pure it felt like truth. When the light faded, the storm was gone. The sky was clear, vast, and alive. The streams of creation flowed freely once more. Morpheus appeared beside them, his form softer now, almost translucent. "You have done what even I could not," he said. "You have reminded the world to dream." His voice trembled with pride. "The realm of Somnia will endure, because you believed." The dawn over Somnia was unlike any before. The sky shimmered with threads of gold and silver, woven by dreams reborn. The air carried music, faint, eternal, alive. The dream chasers stood together on the bridge of light, their eyes reflecting the endless horizon. "It's beautiful," Elara whispered. Leo nodded. "Because it's real. Because we made it so." Morpheus appeared one final time, his form luminous and serene. "The streams of creation flow once again," he said. "But even dreams must know rest." His gaze lingered on each of them. "Your journey ends here, yet your essence will forever shape the tides of imagination." Mira bowed her head. "Will we remember this?" she asked. Morpheus smiled softly. "Not in words, but in wonder." A gentle breeze stirred the air, scattering petals of light across the dreamscape. Each petal carried a memory. Laughter, courage, hope, and silence turned to song. Jonas strummed his guitar one last time, a note so pure it hung in the air like a promise. Soren laughed quietly. "So this is what it feels like to finish a dream," he said. "Not to end it, but to let it breathe." The five stepped to the edge of the bridge. Beneath them flowed the endless streams of creation, reflecting not only Somnia, but the world beyond, the waking realm. "It's time," Leo said. "Let's go home." One by one, they leapt into the river of light. The current carried them upward, through layers of mist and color, until all that remained was brilliance. They awoke beneath the same moon they had left behind, in the quiet field where their journey had begun. The night was still, yet everything felt new. The air seemed to hum with hidden music. Elara looked at her sketchbook. The pages were blank, but faint glimmers of gold traced the edges. Jonas's guitar strings shimmered softly. Mira's notebook pulsed with warmth. "It wasn't a dream," she said. "Not only," Leo replied. It was a memory of who we are. They sat together, watching dawn break across the real sky. Birds stirred, and the first light touched the world. "What happens now?" Soren asked. Leo smiled. "We keep dreaming, but this time, with open eyes." The wind carried their laughter across the hills, blending with the waking day. Somewhere deep within the unseen, Morpheus watched, his voice an echo across time. "As long as one soul dares to dream," he whispered, "Somnia will live." The sun rose higher, golden and bright, washing away the last trace of night. The dream chasers stood, not as wanderers, but as keepers, guardians of the fragile bridge between sleep and hope. And as they walked toward the horizon, the world itself seemed to breathe easier, its colors sharper, its songs truer. Because somewhere in every heart, a fragment of Somnia had taken root, and from it, dreams would bloom again.